You know, it's wild how things turn out. Like, seriously, holy shit. I'm sitting here, practically still processing it, and I probably should have seen this coming. But who ever really sees it coming, right? It's like when you're driving and you see the brake lights, but you still somehow rear-end the car in front of you. That's my life, lately. Or maybe it's just me. Between us, I wanted to scream. Okay, so picture this, it's Tuesday, another miserable Tuesday, and I'm pulling up to this massive house in Dallas. Not massive like a mansion, but big. Like, the kind of house with more bathrooms than people. And my stomach just drops. You know that feeling? Like when you eat something bad and you just know it's gonna come back to haunt you. Yeah, that. Because this isn't just any house I'm about to clean. This is his house. Caleb's. The Caleb. The one I said wasn't ambitious enough. The one I told to dream bigger. And here I am, Tiffany, 32 years old, about to scrub his toilets for a living. I mean, can you even? I met Caleb a few years back, and honestly, he was just easy. You know? Not in a bad way, just no drama. Which, at the time, felt like a breath of fresh air after my last train wreck. He had this steady job, nothing glamorous, but it paid the bills. He was sweet, always offering to pick me up, drive me wherever. My car was always doing something funky, so that was nice. I mean, who doesn't appreciate a guy who shows up? So many dudes these days can't even text back. Pathetic, really. We started hanging out a lot. And he was so into me. Like, genuinely. It was cute, at first. He'd bring me flowers, remember little things I said. I told him once how much I loved that spicy chicken sandwich from that one place, and the next day, boom, he's at my door with one. It was nice. He always paid for dinner, for movies, for everything. I mean, obviously. I had my own bills, you know? My rent and my place, my car insurance, my phone. Money's tight for everyone, and I always thought, why should I pay for a date? It's the guy's job. He never complained. Never once asked me to chip in. Said he liked treating me. See? Too nice. That should have been my first clue. But then, little things started bugging me. He was so content. You know? Just happy with his decent job, his little apartment, his Friday night pizza. I'd be like, Caleb, what are your dreams? And he'd just smile and say, being with you, having a quiet life. And I'd be like, ugh. Seriously? That's it? My inner voice, she was screaming. This bitch is going to hold you back, Tiffany. This is not ambitious. I mean, I have dreams. Big dreams. Like, traveling, owning nice things, not worrying about bills. And I needed a guy who was going to get that. Who was going to make that happen? I wasn't going to settle for some average, basic life. I remember this one time, we were looking at apartments online, just for fun, you know? And I'd find these gorgeous places, lofts downtown, with big windows and fancy appliances. And he'd look at the price and be like, wow, that's a lot of money. And I'd just roll my eyes. Like, yeah, it's a lot, but that's the goal, Caleb. You don't just stay in a dingy one-bedroom forever. You work for something better. But he just didn't seem to have that drive. That hustle. He was always like, oh, but my job is stable. I don't want to take risks. Risks. That's how you get ahead, you know? I started bringing it up more. Not in a mean way, just constructive. I'd say, babe, you're so smart, you could totally do more. Have you thought about that management training program at your work? Or, my friend's boyfriend just got a huge promotion, he worked his butt off. You could do that too. And he'd just nod and say, yeah, maybe. I'll think about it. But he never did. He just kept doing his thing. It was like talking to a wall. A really nice, really sweet, really unambitious wall. I'd post stuff on Facebook, like, so proud of my man for always being there for me, red heart or something mushy like that, because he was always there, bless his heart. But then in my head, I'd be like, if only he'd actually step up and be a man. Like, a real man. The kind that takes charge, makes things happen, doesn't just coast by. It was exhausting, honestly, constantly trying to motivate him. He was a good guy, don't get me wrong. Always listened, always supportive. When I had a bad day at work, he'd bring me ice cream. If I was stressed about bills, he'd find a way to distract me, take me out. One time, my car broke down on the highway, and he was there in 20 minutes, even though he was way across town. A real stand-up guy. And that made it even more frustrating, because he had all the nice qualities, but none of the go-getter ones. It was like, babe, you're a really pretty car, but you're stuck in neutral. Then came the house talk. He started bringing it up, all excited, after we'd been together for maybe a year and a half. He'd found this place, not too far from his work. A 3-bedroom, 2-bath, with a decent yard. He showed me pictures, his eyes all lit up. Look, Tiffany. It's got a new roof, and the kitchen just needs a little updating. We could make it ours. And I just stared at the pictures. It was fine. Just fine. Beige. Plain. A starter home, The kind of place people buy when they're just trying to get on the property ladder. And I thought, this is his ambition? This is what he thinks is enough for us? For me? My face must have been something because he asked if I liked it. I tried to be nice. It's cute, Caleb. Really? But don't you think we could do better? He looked confused. Better? It's a good price, and it's in a decent neighborhood. It's a solid investment. A solid investment? I laughed, a little too loud. Caleb, you know what's a solid investment? A house that actually looks like something. Something with curb appeal, a big master suite, maybe a pool. Not just some beige box. He just kind of deflated. But I thought, this is what we talked about. Getting our own place. Yeah, our place, babe. Not a place. There's a difference, I said, trying to be patient. I mean, think about it. What are we going to tell our friends? Oh, yeah, we bought the beige box down the street. No offense, but it's just not aspirational. I kept pushing. I told him he deserved more, that we deserved more. That if he really applied himself, he could afford something truly amazing. I even looked up some real estate listings for him, places that were way out of his league, just to show him what was possible. I'd send him links and be like, see? This is what I'm talking about. This is ambition. He'd look at them, then look back at his little beige house, and just sigh. He'd say things like, but it's in a good school district, and I'd be like, Caleb, we don't even have kids yet. Let's focus on us, for now, and the kind of life we want to build. Between us, I wanted to roll my eyes so hard they'd fall out. He tried to talk about budgets, about interest rates, about how this house was realistic. Realistic? What a buzzkill. I told him, Caleb, if you think this is your limit, it will be. You have to manifest what you want. You have to believe you can have more. This house? It just screams settling. I even used my own trauma, from growing up without much, to explain why I needed more security, more visible success. It usually worked to shut him down when he got too stubborn. He'd get that worried look and drop it. But this time, he didn't entirely drop it. He just went quiet. He stopped talking about the beige house, which I took as a win. See? He was finally getting it. He was finally going to listen to me and aim higher. I even started looking at bigger, fancier places online, sending him links, saying, when you're ready, babe, this is the kind of place we should consider. He'd just respond with a thumbs up emoji. No real enthusiasm. just a thumbs up. Typical. The last few months were rough. I mean, for me. He was just different. He wasn't as eager to spend time together. He'd say he was busy with work or had errands. I'd ask him what errands, and he'd just say, "Oh, just stuff." Like, seriously? I told him I needed transparency. I mean, how can we have a healthy relationship if he's not telling me every little thing? But if he asked me where I was, I'd be like, "Oh, just out with my girls." Why? You don't trust me? Double standards? No, just boundaries. My boundaries. He'd also started saying no sometimes. Like, I'd suggest we go to that new fancy restaurant, and he'd be like, "Maybe next time, Tiffany. It's a little out of my budget right now." Budget. Again with the budget. I mean, my money was for my stuff, for my savings. His money was for us. That's how it works. I even made a mental tally. He owed me, like, 1,000,000 fancy dinners for all the times he said no. Then the fights started getting worse. Not loud fights, because Caleb hated conflict. He'd just shut down. I'd be trying to explain to him how he was holding us back, how he wasn't living up to his potential, how I deserved more than just a realistic life. And he'd just sit there, staring at the wall. Not saying anything. That always pissed me off. Like, say something. Fight back. But he never did. He'd just go quiet, and then eventually say, "Okay, Tiffany. I hear you." But he didn't hear me. He never did. One night, it was after another one of these talks, and I was trying to explain how his lack of ambition was affecting my future, our future, and how I couldn't be with someone who didn't want to climb higher. I used my most vulnerable voice, the one that makes me sound like I'm about to cry. "Caleb, I just want to feel secure. I want to know we're building something amazing. And, this house. It's just not that." He finally looked at me, really looked at me, and his eyes were just empty. "Tiffany," he said, his voice flat. "I bought the house." I blinked. "What?" "I bought the house," he repeated. "The one I showed you. The beige one. I closed on it last week." My jaw dropped. Seriously? After everything I said? After all my careful explanations about ambition and dreams? He just went and did it anyway? He had the nerve to go behind my back and buy that basic little box? You bought it?" I stammered. "Without even talking to me? After I said it wasn't enough?" He just shrugged. "You said it wasn't ambitious enough. You said I wasn't ambitious enough. I figured, it wasn't for you. But it was for us, Caleb." I yelled, finally. "You were supposed to buy a house for us. Not just, some random house for yourself." He stood up. "Tiffany, I'm tired. I'm really, truly tired. I can't do this anymore." And that was it. Just like that. No big dramatic breakup scene. No screaming. He just walked away. Said he needed space. He expected me to beg, probably. To come crawling back. But why would I? I had my standards, and he clearly wasn't meeting them. I mean, if he couldn't even buy a house that reflected my taste, what kind of partner was he, really? I figured he'd come back. He always did. He'd call, he'd text, he'd apologize for whatever he thought he did wrong. But this time, nothing. A week went by. Then two. I checked his Facebook, he was still posting pictures of his boring life. I mean, I wasn't going to stalk him, obviously. But I did check. And he never even mentioned the house. Just like he was trying to erase me from his history. How rude is that? My life after Caleb was complicated. I tried dating again. And let me tell you, it's a jungle out there. So many guys are just not like Caleb. Not in the good way. They expect you to go Dutch on dates, they're flaky, they don't listen. I mean, at least Caleb was consistent. He just wasn't enough. My job situation also took a turn. The office I was at, they started cutting hours. And I needed money, obviously. My savings were, well, they were for me. So, I took this cleaning job. Just temporary, you know? Just until I found something better. I mean, a girl's gotta eat, right? It was fine. It paid the bills. And it was flexible. I could still pursue my dreams, my real dreams, on the side. It wasn't a setback, it was just a pivot. A temporary one. So there I was, pulling up to that house. The address looked familiar on the work order, but I didn't think anything of it. Lots of houses look the same. And then I saw the front door. The little mailbox. And the realization just hit me like a ton of bricks. This was it. The beige box. The house I said wasn't ambitious enough. The house he bought without my permission. My heart started pounding like crazy. I mean, what are the odds? Out of all the houses in Dallas, I get assigned this one? It's almost like the universe has a sick sense of humor. I stood there for a minute, just staring at it. It looked different. Not beige anymore. It had been painted this nice, modern gray, with a bright red door. There were flower beds, full of colorful plants, and a little porch swing. And then, I saw it. A little sign in the yard. Welcome home, Caleb and Sarah. 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 That bitch. I almost turned around, almost called my boss and said I was sick. But then I thought, no. I'm here. I'll just do the job. What's he gonna do, recognize me? I'm cleaning his toilet. He's probably moved on, forgotten all about me. And frankly, I don't care anymore. I pushed through the door, with my little cleaning caddy, and walked inside. The living room was bright, airy. Not the plain, empty space I remembered from his pictures. There was a big, comfy-looking sofa, a real rug, not just some cheap thing. Pictures on the walls. And then I saw them. A picture of Caleb, smiling, genuinely smiling, arm around some blonde woman. Sarah. They looked happy. Too happy. Ugh. I went into the kitchen. It wasn't the beige kitchen anymore. It had new, dark cabinets, a big island, and stainless steel appliances. And on the counter, a little vase of fresh flowers. And a note. Caleb, love, don't forget the dry cleaning. Sarah. I kept cleaning. Each swipe of the cloth, each scrub, it felt like something. Like I was erasing my own words. The house was spotless, clean, organized. Everything in its place. Not like my apartment, which was usually a disaster zone because, you know, I'm busy living my life. But this house, it looked like a home. A real, actual home. The kind I always said I wanted. But not this kind. Not the beige kind that turned into a gray kind. My kind was supposed to be bigger, flashier. I made my way to the master bathroom. And as I started scrubbing the toilet, I just saw it all. My words echoing in my head. Not ambitious enough. You deserve more. This isn't enough for me. And here I was, scrubbing the toilet in the house he bought, the house that clearly was enough for him. And for Sarah. That smug little bitch. It was infuriating. I mean, he goes and buys the house I told him not to, and now he's living this picture-perfect life, and I'm the one cleaning up after him? It's just so unfair. I was just trying to help him. To push him to be better. To see his full potential. And he just left me. And then he goes and finds some basic blonde who probably thinks a beige box is a mansion. Like, seriously. When I finished, I walked out, pulling the door shut behind me. The sun was shining. Birds were chirping. It was a perfect, sickeningly perfect, day. And I was just there. Getting into my old, beat-up car, heading to the next house. Another house that probably looked just as happy. Another house where someone else was living a life I thought I deserved. Do I regret what I said to Caleb? No. Not really. I was just being honest. He wasn't ambitious enough for me. He settled. It's a shame how it turned out. For me, I mean. He got lucky. He always was lucky. And now I'm stuck here, cleaning up his perfect little life. But you know what? I don't care. I'm still gonna find my dream house. A real dream house. And it's gonna be way, way better than his little gray box. And I'm certainly not going to be cleaning it myself. That's for sure.